Hello, and welcome to another edition of Focus for Education. I'm your host, John Conley, and in this show, we're going to talk about the initiatives that are going on in the school district around literacy from the elementary grades all the way through the high school. So we're going to have quite a few guests today. Our first guest, we're going to start with the Assistant Superintendent of Schools, Mark Blount, and talk about kind of the overview of the programs that are going on. Mark, I was really pleased to see some very encouraging news in this recent newspaper article, and I know there's a lot been going on, and I know when we measure, we don't just take one measurement, but tell us a little bit about some of the things that the district has done to cause some of these great test scores.
Exactly. Well, thank you, John, for having me here this afternoon. And yes, indeed, we have, the Londonderry School District has put a lot of emphasis in recent years on literacy across our schools. A number of things that we have done, and to give you an analogy, it's kind of like building a house. So at the elementary level, primary level, our focus is on the foundation, getting students learning how to read. And as we move into the middle and high school level, the walls are going up, and finally the roof is going on when we get to the high school level. A number of the components that have gone into it, obviously it is our teaching staff that is really behind literacy across our schools. We've invested quite a bit of professional development in recent years, from the primary grades through the high school, which you'll learn more about in this show. We've also instituted a number of measures to assist in targeting appropriate services to our students, anywhere from the dynamic indicators of basic early literacy skills at the primary level to our Iowa tests at the middle and high school levels to NECAPs, which are the state assessments. So a number of initiatives are going on around literacy.
So it sounds like a pretty full program, and I guess as with everything in the district, at least in my opinion, it really is, it's great that we have the programs, it's great we've got the administration and the school board, but it's the parents and it's the staff that really make things happen. And if you could, I'd like to have an opportunity to try and discuss this with the staff at each of the levels and have them tell us a little bit about some of the programs that they're working on, and then perhaps you and I can come back at the end and recap how that all ties together.
Very good.
Great. Let's start with right at the beginning, at the as you said, the foundation of the house with the elementary teachers. We're going to start with that foundation that Mark and I were talking about, and we've got a great selection of members of the staff at the elementary level with us today that really bring a lot of expertise and a lot of background. We've got Kelly Scarbaugh, we've got Vicki Stickney, and Cheryl Jacobs, each representing a little different constituency of students, and this really is where the foundation gets built. And I know we've done a number of programs on literacy, and I know Vicki, you and I have done a couple of these in the past, so perhaps since you're the veteran of this, I'll start with you and tell us a little bit of what's new in these new programs.
There are a couple of things that are new. One is the three-tier model of intervention program that we're using. And what that means essentially is each child gets the level of intervention that they need. So all our children get a core instruction every day of 30 minutes with their classroom teacher in reading. Then the kids in Tier 2 get an additional 30 minutes for a total of 60 minutes of reading instruction, and our Tier 3 students get an additional 60 minutes of reading instruction each day, so they get 90 minutes of reading instruction each day. And we've really seen some very nice growth because of it. We've seen children being able to change from level to level, which is very exciting. And one of the things we've noticed is our students are further along at this point in the year than they have been in years past. On a simple measure like the vocabulary checks that we do, most of our kids are about 25, 30 words further along than they have been in the past. And we see that as a real measure of their fluency and expect it to impact it's starting to impact their comprehension, things that in the past they might have been hesitant to approach because they didn't have a large sight vocabulary. Now they're more confident about approaching things. In fact, I was telling John a few minutes ago, now when I pass out books to read with the kids, I always ask them, would you like to read it together, or would you like to read it by yourself? And most of the times now their choice is, I'd like to read it on my own, which is wonderful. That's what we want, is for them to be confident and independent.
And the programs that you're instituting for the 3 tiers and this, it really is, isn't it an elaboration of what's been going on in the past? It is not phonics, it is not whole language, it is a mix of all teaching skills?
Absolutely. The 3-tier model allows us to provide extra instruction based on what the teacher has already done with the children. So if they need a reteaching of the same material or a pre-teaching of what's going to be happening tomorrow, that allows us to do that. But we're hitting all of the skills that they already have. Phonics, phonemic awareness, vocabulary, fluency, and reading comprehension during that time.
So we're still kind of using Dick and Jane, and doing basal readers, but we're really bringing more, what I say, more science to it and more focus.
Actually, we aren't using a basal yet, but we will be using a basal soon.
Okay.
Currently, we're using a guided reading approach in
Okay.
primary grades. And what that means is the material that the children read is carefully structured so that they're always able to be independent at each level. So as their skills increase, they move up a level. And it's a very careful gradient, but they're always able to solve some part of the puzzle and master that level and move on. And when I say solve some part of the puzzle, it might be that it's an appropriate skill where they can analyze the words and figure them out, or it might be a part where they're applying, say, cause and effect, something like that. But each level is a little bit more difficult, so they're moving on. In the future, next year when we begin piloting our new core program, as they now call basal reading programs, because they provide everybody with the same core of instruction. But in the future, we'll be able to combine the best of both worlds. We'll have a basal program or a core program, and a big component of that is also guided reading. So we're very excited that we're not having to make a drastic change, but incorporate what we see as the best of both programs.
The exception to that is the Tier 3 student, where this year we've been very fortunate to have some research-based reading material that we've been doing direct instruction with the Tier 3 student to develop fluency skills. It's a very scripted program that builds on skills that were taught the day before, and it really helps to develop those decoding skills, comprehension skills, and fluency. So the Tier 3 student is being hit, as Vicki said, with a large dose of reading, and the hope is that they'll move up to the Tier 2.
And if I can jump in, I happen to hear a Tier 3 lesson every day while I eat my lunch. And I've been fascinated over the course of the year how increasingly fluent and confident the kids have been becoming. The program is working really well. They're excited, they're reading with intonation, they're doing a beautiful job. I can't get over the difference, I really can't.
And the students can move between tiers,
Mhm.
is that right?
Absolutely.
So
That's the goal.
Okay, and
Our goal would be to have everybody on Tier 1.
and Tier 1, but and you're seeing success with Tier 3 students moving to 2 and 2 moving to 1,
Absolutely.
and as we implement this. And one of my favorite questions that I always try to ask is about success stories, and usually teachers always have kind of that one student that they remember, but Vicki, you really shared a fairly different success story about reading, and considering the time of year it is, it's probably very appropriate.
Oh, it's a wonderful moment in first grade, and it comes for different students at different times during the year, but for tier 2 students, it comes about this time of year. It's the time when they don't need us anymore, and it's really quite wonderful. They're able to, instead of being very dependent on us when they read and always doing this, what's the next word? The next word. They're able to pick up the book, read on their own, and feel really excited about it. In fact, they almost get to the point where I'll ask, would you like me to help you? No, I can do it myself. Or they'll tell me, please don't help me. I'd like to solve this on my own. And that's so exciting for all of us. And the parents will comment on it too. What a wonderful moment it is when they can actually read for pleasure. Another thing we see is when we read things that are that have a comic element now with first graders, they can understand what they're reading well enough that they can anticipate that the humor's coming. So they'll start to be reading and you'll hear that uh-oh moment. They'll go uh-oh, or they'll start to giggle because they're now, instead of having to decode and figure out the individual words, they're able to read for the larger picture and the bigger sense of what they're reading, so they can anticipate what's coming, and they really enjoy that, and they'll giggle and laugh and have a great time. So that's wonderful.
You know, it is so exciting to watch the growth and the development, and it's also exciting just to kind of hear you and hear your enthusiasm for your subject and for something that is so important to lay that solid foundation, so that as the kids come up through, they can then integrate and learn all the other subjects because they've got that basic reading skill. So I want to thank you for taking the time today, but more importantly, I want to thank you for taking the time every day and working with so many of our students and doing so well for them. Thanks for coming today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now that we've got the foundation laid, it's time to begin to build the walls and put on the roof, as Mark said. And we've got some guests now from both the middle and high schools with us. From the middle school, we have Sue Gualtieri, and we have Catherine Bosniak and Gail Marsh from the high school. Welcome, and again, as is often, we have a friend who has been on some of our programs in the past, in Gail, been a long time library program, and good to see this long history that we have in Londonderry of just employees that are so dedicated to our students and stay with them. So again, welcome to all of you, and let me just kind of begin at the middle school. This is you're building the walls, as we said in our analogy. Tell us a little bit of the new program that's being implemented. How do you receive the students coming from the elementary schools, and what are the tactics employed to bring them forward through the middle school?
Well, we offer a wide range of services for students at our middle school based upon the needs that they come to us with from the 3 elementary schools of the district. We offer varying programs that are offered through the reading department and also in association with the special ed department as well, to offer the support services that kids need to kind of create an environment that's safe for them to learn and to become good readers. So starting out with our 6th grade program, we have every 6th grader taking reading, and we then move into kids who may be at 1 or 2 grades below grade level will also take part in another program that we offer, the SRA Corrective Reading Program, which is offered by or taught by one of the staff members at our school as well, another reading teacher. Then when we get into our 7th and 8th grade programs, in the 7th and 8th grade, we offer instruction to students that need more skills-based instruction to become more independent and lifelong readers. We offer them the support that they need and place them in classes that would benefit them for this particular reason. So in 7th and 8th grade, students either choose to take a foreign language, or it's recommended that they continue with reading to provide them with skills that they need.
And that's kind of a key juncture, isn't it, to make sure that if they've got a good solid base to go on to a foreign language, but if not, to really make sure that you just kind of almost nip it in the bud, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think we really feel the philosophy of reading at our school is to really provide students with the skills that are really necessary to create lifelong readers and lifelong learners. And to do that, we need to make sure that our students have the skills that they need to be active, strategic readers.
And as they transition, I know there are several things going on at the high school. Tell us a couple of. I know a couple of programs that are really fairly exciting that you and I have talked about recently.
Right, here at the high school, we're not dealing obviously with getting the kids to decode the words on the page. We're more focusing on how they're able to construct the meaning. Obviously, when kids get to the high school level, the types of texts that they're being asked to read are much more difficult, and some are very unfamiliar to them because they could be in classes that they've never taken before. So we've really done a an initiative here at the high school to work with the content area teachers. We have formed a literacy team here of those made up of the content area teachers, and they're bringing that information about literacy back to their own, their teachers in their own departments and throughout the building. So it's really infusing literacy strategies and what we can be doing in our own content areas across the building to help students comprehend those difficult texts that they'll be getting in those classes. So that's really from teacher to teacher what they're able to do to offer that support. We do also have literacy lab here at the high school where kids who need that extra support in their core content areas can meet with the reading specialists once or twice a week, and next year it'll be daily to get that extra support as well. So kids can get that support with their core content area classes.
So really a good mix of kind of peer-to-peer training across the teachers as to what are the newest tactics and techniques that are working, and then still reinforcement for those students that are maybe struggling a little bit. And the library, which isn't called the library anymore, it's a media center because we are so diverse now, really isn't just a place to come and take out a book, is it?
No, it is not. And it's not only the books, but it's the support services we provide for the students and the teachers. And a lot of what we do is to supplement, to support the teachers in their literacy efforts. We provide the wide range of resources, the wide range of reading levels, the different formats, because not only do we have our print books, we have online resources which are focused for different content areas, which the teachers have been using now, finding by going to the online databases we provide, things like historical newspapers. We just had a discussion with a math teacher who was thrilled to find a newspaper from 1912 to support the unit she was doing on the sinking of the Titanic, which was statistics and things like that. So that's what we're trying to do to support. We also provide audiobooks for those readers that by listening to the text as they read might assist them. So we provide those types of resources too. And we do some instructional strategies with the teachers on how best to perhaps guide the students, because when they're doing research, that's really taking the reading and applying it in a real life situation. Reading is not just for reading, it's now to solve some information problem, solve some tasks they have to do. So we try to provide strategies to give them the structure, what process to follow to make it a little easier and more successful.
Yeah, you mentioned that a little. There really is perhaps a lot that goes on in the background that most of us don't see in terms of the integration between the media staff and the teacher to develop kind of the materials that go with the lesson plan. And if you want, just tell us a little bit about that integration, because I think most people don't have any idea of what you really do in the background to really support.
It's background. We do work sometimes with the teachers on structuring an assignment so that the concept is the students will be successful, their skills will grow, and they'll be successful. You don't want to have an assignment where, for whatever reason, it's a roadblock for them. So we try to put ourselves in the students' shoes and see what they will experience with an assignment, and to make sure then we have the resources, make sure we have the variety and the reading levels so that they can be successful. So we do that.
And a lot of times the classroom comes as a classroom at all the different levels to the library. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. So that again, is that part of the strategy to help the student understand that the library is part of learning? It's not a separate place by.
I think that's true, yeah. We can accommodate 2 classes simultaneously, plus all the students that are doing their independent work. And yes, it is an academic area for them. It's truly where learning goes on, where they have the computer resources, the technology resources to pull it all together.
As we have been watching this program grow now for a while, we've seen some good statistics in the newspaper, but again, I always like to try and put a face and a student to those statistics without talking about a specific student. Any quick success stories come to mind that you'd like to share?
I know, and with the introduction of our new SRA corrective reading program, we've been seeing some really great strides with student fluency and comprehension with the program that we're using. I had a student that was taken from my class because she was really in need of some more support, and she struggled with the materials that we were covering. So we brought her into that program, and one day when I was sitting with another teacher, and her teacher said, you know, I want you to hear her read right now. And she read this passage, something that she was doing, and I could not believe the marked difference in just her ability to be fluent and read with inflection. And I think truly she's much more successful now in her reading in school and everywhere, really. So that's really nice to see.
Yeah, and I think at the high school level, especially with the reading specialists when they're working with the students, it's encouraging to have students who otherwise in the past may have given up on an assignment to now come back and say, I was able to get through that assignment and thank you, and now my grade is so much better in those classes. And so instead of dismissing assignments, they now have strategies to go about tackling those assignments so that they can get through them.
Excellent. That's always, to me, that's one of the exciting parts of doing these shows is to kind of meet with the teachers and sometimes with the students and kind of hear the real success stories. And again, as with the elementary teachers that we had earlier, thank you both for the time you spent today to help us understand your program, but also for all the good work that you do with the students every day. Thanks.
Thank you.
So before we wrap up the show, one of the things I think really is important is, of course, the integration of what goes on in school every day with support of the parents. Tell us just a couple of quick tips as a reading specialist that you would want to pass on to the parents that they could do to better support their students' growth in school.
I think a really important thing for parents to understand is that it's important to have print material of many varieties at home that's available for students to read. Magazines, periodicals, newspapers, books of different sorts, and also your kids need to see you read.
Gail, again, from the standpoint of a media specialist, offer us a couple of quick tips for parents.
I think just had conversations with your students about what they're studying in school, and then make sure that if you have a high schooler, that they have this list of passwords near the computer at home. These are the electronic databases that provide incredibly information-rich text materials that you can access from home for free. They're just through the library webpage, so you don't have to have the materials yourself. You can access them online.
Vicki, one question that we didn't talk about when we were as a group. In the assessments, one that we hear about a lot is dibbles, and it is not something that I have down the front of my shirt, but just so the parents understand, what is dibbles?
Well, DIBBLES is an acronym for Dynamic Indicators of Basic Early Literacy Skills, and we use it in kindergarten through third grade. It's a quick individual assessment. Maximum you spend on it is five minutes. You do it per child. They're quick 1-minute assessments, and they're all based on fluency, with the idea that just as in math, if you have to laboriously solve every math problem, you're never going to be able to move on to higher level math. The same thing is true in reading. If you have to think about what sound each letter makes, or the individual words too much, you're going to lose the meaning of what you read. So the goal in DIBBLES is to measure how quickly and how fluent the kids are becoming. We found it to be a wonderful tool this year. We do it 3 times a year, school-wide in all the elementary schools and at Moose Hill. And we use it to help make placement decisions, to pick up kids who might need a little extra support just in one area. A lot of time kids are doing very well on the whole, but they might have a slight weakness, say, in decoding. And this will show it up for us very quickly. We can take them, target that intervention for a few weeks, and then put them right back in the regular group. So we found it to be a great tool. In fact, the teachers have said to me, which delighted me, I'm looking forward to doing the DIBBLES again. It gives me some really good information.
So it sounds like very good information in a very non-invasive way.
Exactly.
So, well, great. Thank you, and
Thank you.
I'll keep my shirt clean.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Very.
Kelly, guess as we get these young readers that we've now got excited in all the things that they're doing in school, what can the parents best do to support them when they get home?
Oh, the biggest thing they can do is read with their children, especially the dads. Boys turn off to reading very quickly because they're more into nonfiction and they don't see their dads reading, but it doesn't have to be always books. They can read comic books together. They can read newspaper articles. They can read magazine articles together, going to the library together to get books into their hands. It is so important not just to decide that to read only with the children that can read, but read to your children who have a difficult time reading, and read to your children who are very good readers. And don't stop reading just when they've started reading on their own. Keep reading until they're up into middle middle school level with them, have discussions about the books that they read. And when you're in the car on long trips, it would be great to put a book on tape in and talk about it rather than watch those DVDs.
Okay. You know, I am constantly amazed. My youngest is now 27, and we did a lot of these things, and you wonder, and I'm constantly amazed as conversations come up, and she'll say, "Dad, do you remember when?" And you go, "Gee, it really does work, and they really do remember." So it is a real partnership between the school and the family, and anything that you can do to support your children's growth. I think you've got a staff working for you that is really committed to make that happen, and together we can make wonderful things happen for our children. Thanks for watching. Mark, great as always, the information talking directly with the teachers that are providing the support every day. They talked to us in some measure about staff training. They talked about the new programs. A couple of things that I'd like to talk with you about, just some of the kind of overarching across schools. There's a summer program that I know has been very successful, and the core reading program that I began to mention in there, and I wasn't sure of the timing. I guess that's a coming program. Perhaps you could start with those two things, the summer programs and where are we headed with core reading.
Okay. Regarding our summer programs, the Londonderry School District, we originally started our summer programming at our high school with the Flex program, and then the Flex program morphed into adult education and GED programs. Since those programs have begun, and by the way, they have become very successful, we've been having some great success stories among our high school students. But we have extended our services to the middle school and the elementary level, focusing on literacy as well as mathematics, offering a 4-week program for our elementary students from entering grade 1 to exiting grade 5. We had 110 students in our first year last summer, very successful, and got some great feedback from parents and teachers who were in the program. We've also have the similar kinds of programs that will begin this year at Londonderry Middle School for 6th and 7th grade students as well. So that's a little bit about our summer programming.
Great. And we are basically kind of hitting the tip of the iceberg with what we've already put in place, because there's a lot more that you've got coming with core reading, and
exactly.
Where do you see the next few years headed in this program?
Well, I think the next few years, obviously at all levels, we will continue ongoing professional development of our teachers, focusing on the basics of reading at our primary grades, moving into our intermediate and high school grades with reading across the curriculum. There will be a big emphasis as we begin to pilot our core reading program next year of training of those participants next year in the pilot on using the program. And I think it will enhance what we're already doing, providing greater consistency within the grades and across the grade levels in the area of literacy.
I briefly made a comment in the introduction about the great news that we had seen, which was really one metric, and we heard from Vicki Stickney at the elementary level about dibbles and how that works. But just as many students learn in different ways, we don't just use one measurement.
No, we
whether
don't.
It's good or bad.
Exactly. We do not use just one measurement. We use a variety of measures. Our classroom teachers use measures within their classrooms to measure success of students in literacy. We also use a variety of other measures besides the dibbles. We use the Iowa Test of Basic Skills at our elementary and middle school levels, the Iowa Test of Basic Skills at the freshman year in high school. We also use the state assessment results and other district-wide measures such as writing prompts to give us indication of how we can best meet the needs of students across the grade levels.
Okay, so I think it's been hopefully very informative today. I think the two visuals that come out of this, the analogy of building a house and starting with the foundation, working up to the roof, is a very clear one, and the other kind of buzzword that I see in everything I read, which really also brings it home, is at the elementary school we're learning to read, and as we transition up through middle and high school, we're reading to learn, and it really seems like we've got a program in Londonderry that is going to support our students. And again, thanks to you for coming today and
Thank you, John.
arranging for all the staff visits that we had. And thanks for watching this show. We hope you have found it useful, and as always, we welcome any topics that you would like to suggest on information you'd like to be made aware of. Thanks.